Guys, I'm starting to think Embracer might understand that they're not doing very well. This is a cow's opinion, and I am still congested because allergies after a viral infection suck. But I'm still here, and Tom Ivan over here at Video Games Chronicle, trying to remember to always give credit where credit is due, has posted something following the saga of Embracer. If you don't know the saga of Embracer, it's like an RPG, but with really crappy cutscenes. Basically, Embracer bought all these studios, and then, because they couldn't get a Saudi Arabian wealth fund to give them $2 billion to then fund the studios, they collapsed, and they had to lay off well over 1,000 people. They had to cancel who knows how many games, and they've closed entire studios. But now, the CEO of Embracer, Lars Wingefors, has said, I might have to shoulder much of the blame. Well, who the hell else is there? This is going to be a fun one for me, at least. So, Lars has gone on record and said that he must shoulder much of the blame for a long list of mistakes that led to the restructuring, the firings, and the loss at Embracer, because, well, who the hell else is there? Seriously, man. What are you even talking about? Who's to blame but you for this garbage? Now look, again, as I said at the top of the video, there were years of rapid expansions, acquisitions, and just no plan on what to do with all this stuff. They were just trying to make like a mega giant. But then, almost a year ago, last May, the $2 billion deal, this article doesn't say it, but everyone's pretty sure it's a Saudi Arabian wealth fund, which the people who sell oil for your vehicle are the ones that will go into fund video games now, I guess. And not surprisingly, it fell through at the last minute. And it took a 9-month restructuring program, resulting in almost 1,400 people losing their jobs. Epic Studios closed. Not the Epic Studio. I'm saying really great studios closed. And the cancellation of tens of games. So at least probably 2 to 3 dozen games that we don't get to play now. Now, after the restructuring is now done, and the CEO is like, well, I guess you got to hold me responsible for it. As a leader and an owner, sometimes you need to take the blame, and you need to be humble about it if you've made mistakes and if you could have done something differently. Oh, boy. I'm sure I deserve a lot of the criticism, but I don't think my team or companies deserve all the criticism. I could take a lot of that blame myself, but ultimately, I need to believe in the mission we set out, and that it is still valid, and we're now enabling that by doing this structure. Now, yesterday, I had a long day yesterday, and I didn't get a chance to post it, but Embracer announced that they're not going to be Embracer Studios anymore. They're going to be 3 different ones, all on the Swedish Stock Exchange. Asmodee, Coffee Stain and Friends, and Middle-earth Enterprises and Friends. They'll all be separate companies, and the fact that they couldn't be more creative with those names because 2 of them are and Friends is really stupid. But here's the new plan. So Asmodee is going to operate as a publisher and distributor of board games, trading card games, and digital. So, you know, they're going to be the guys who all the, like, not pure video game stuff spins off to, but still gaming. Now, Coffee Stain and Friends are going to focus on PC, console, mobile. Why don't you just say games? Including community-driven free-to-play games, live ops games, and indie/AAA games. So pretty much a lot of different stuff, but not AAA. It's going to operate under premium free-to-play, and it's going to include THQ Nordic, Ghost Ship, Tuxedo Labs, Trazier, Amplifier Game Invest, and others. And then finally, the one that is probably most well known to everybody because it's Middle-earth. Middle-earth Enterprises and Friends, we're going to focus on the AAA gaming and publishing. It has the IPO for things such as Lord of the Rings and Tomb Raider, Dead Island, Metro, and Kingdom Come Deliverance. The studios that are going to be joining them are some decent names, actually. We've got Crystal Dynamics, Dambuster, Eidos Montreal, Flying Wild Hog, Tripwire, Vertigo, Warhorse Studios, and 4A Games. I still feel I have the trust from many or all of my key entrepreneurs and CEOs that have joined the group. It's been difficult, but I think they all believed in the mission of Embracer. They also understood that the world has changed. We need to change. It's painful. We can't make all the games we wanted to make 3 years ago, but we need to adapt to it. We will still make games. We still have one of the biggest, if not the biggest, pipeline of games in the industry. And we have great plans over the coming years or decades. And then you got a related article where Saber Interactive thinks that their former employer has been harshly criticized. Do we have comments? No, we don't have comments at this time. Can I see the comments if I hit refresh? I just want to see what people think of this. So nobody... Look, guys. Embracer tried to win gaming by just Voltroning and combining as many different things as they could. The fact that they're splitting into 3 separate companies, did not mean to do that, excuse me, 2 of which, Asmodee and Middle-earth Enterprises, are wildly different, tells you it was probably too big, too fast to really get a handle on it. And again, they failed, and this guy deserves a lot of the criticism for that failure, because they spent all this money buying all the studios and all the IPs. And all the contracts for all the staff. And then they needed $2 billion with a B dollars USD to be able to fund this stuff. They had no idea how to fund it. When figuring out how to pay something is the very last thing that you do when you're putting together, I don't understand how he thought I can totally do this. Because again, 1,400 people lost their jobs, 9 months to restructure. Studios are closed. Dozens of games are not going to come out. And Embracer's not even going to be Embracer anymore. It's going to be 3 separate companies. A freaking company, not because they were found to be... I want you to think about that. Not because of a monopoly or some government entity saying you're too big, too fast, you can't do that. They built so big that their house of Legos collapsed under the weight of itself. They built a company that could not fund itself for that long of a period. And that's just really disappointing. I'm not going to lie. It's really sad. It's really stupid. A lot of really talented people lost their jobs. That's a huge... 1,400 is a huge chunk of the people who have been fired over the last 12 months and probably over the next 6 to 12 months. Again, unfortunately, we've done discussions on the video game layoffs, and sad but true, I fully expect for the layoffs to continue, and not maybe by fall, but definitely this year. This year is going to be more firings than last year. There was an article that came out that the things people played most in 2023 were actually retro games or older games. They didn't want to play new releases because, I mean, and I don't want to get into any of the culture war stuff of it, but there's tons of evidence that shows that, they're not making great games. They're making garbage story. They're coming out massively bugged. Just look at what happened to freaking... It killed Team Volition. What happened to Saints Row. I was like, God, it hasn't been gone that long. I haven't forgotten the name of it. Saints Row was so bad. Story that didn't make sense. And forget the story, man. Because if the game is fun to play, you can go through it. It's not that big of a deal that they had a weird CW-like cast and no plot continuity throughout the game. Buggy as hell. Kept making mistakes. Launching a game in that state is bad because these CEOs and everything have tricked themselves into, you know what? You can have day one patches and you can squash bugs and you can come up, you just gotta make the most biggest massive game you can. No, you don't have to. You can make great games that do financially well, but you don't have to spend $300 million in 3.5 to 4 years and in hundreds of developers to make a game that's going to sell huge. If the game is great, the game is great. It's going to be a big shift. I think you will hopefully see less AAA games, but better quality games as they realize that, you know what, AA even single A quality, are still really good and should be okay. But you know what, guys? This is just me getting to punch on the Embracer CEO just a little bit, because we've talked a lot about how stupid all this stuff is. He was depending on a Middle Eastern nation's sovereign wealth fund to fund games, okay? The games were coming out because Exxon gets oil from the Middle East. If that doesn't make you say, that doesn't sound right, well, it never crossed this dude's head. I don't know. I have no idea. And it sucks because he's like, well, yeah, I'll take all the blame. But the problem is that he and the CEOs he says to believe him, they're not the ones paying the price, guys. This is why people are talking more and more about, whether or not you need a union, I'm usually kind of, neutral about. But this is why it's coming up more and more, because so many people have lost their jobs because the people at the top push out these bad games. Blizzard Studios may or may not live through their bad decisions. God only knows. There's rumors that Microsoft is letting them just be themselves, so hopefully that means that Overwatch 2 is probably done. It's not going to go anywhere. Diablo 4, not super great. All the World of Warcraft. StarCraft has been a dead franchise forever because they just won't make anything for it. So I'm hopeful that they get to survive. But guys, I don't want to just go on a random rant. What do you think about the Embracer CEO taking the blame but not really paying the price? I mean, he's not losing his job. I haven't heard anything about a massive pay cut. He may get stock in all three companies as the former CEO of where they're coming from. I don't know. This might be financially great for him, potentially. Let me know in the comments, though. Do you think that this will be better? Do you think that the studios with a better focus can survive more? Did any of these studios that I named, do you love them? Are you looking forward to games that they came out with? I mean, guys, let me know in the comments. And you know what else you can do in the comments now that my throat's feeling better? Yeah, you can play more games! Because games are awesome, and you, yes you deserve that awesome. You don't deserve this guy ruining your favorite studios, but that happened, and I can't undo that. I'll see you next time.